Guys, like, do you know where we're at the Bellular cycle right now? Because I'm feeling kind of lost. Are we in the we're so cooked or we're so back?
Immersion is a word that's been dominating WoW discussion lately, and if you ask anyone about how immersive WoW used to be, you'll probably get the same kinds of answers, that it felt like stepping through a portal to another world. Just think about the original login screen. But if you ask about the last 10 years, I would reckon the answers would change. That WoW doesn't feel as real. That for some reason it feels more like a video game and less like a world that you're sucked into. Now, Krandor and Nixium both released videos on this topic recently, and with very different takes. So I figured we should throw our hat in the ring. And that's because everyone is blaming the same suspects. Flying, teleports, an endgame focus. But here's what we realized when we dug through decades of research and scientific publications. Almost everyone's been getting this topic wrong for over 20 years. Because why isn't WoW as immersive anymore is actually the wrong question entirely. WoW's true secret sauce was something else, and one paper from 2005 is a big part of why we forgot it.
As someone who is very, very huge on immersion and would be willing to sacrifice certain aspects of gameplay for it, I can tell you that the only reason that immersion is dead, well, there are like numerous reasons obviously, but the main biggest culprit is gameplay being too fast. Whenever the game is too fast, you don't get to soak in the environment. It's not really a matter of flying, it's a matter of like speed. If you would have waltzed through every single zone from quest to quest like an absolute idiot jackrabbit high on crack, then yeah, it's bad, because you don't get to appreciate the scenery, the small NPCs, the critters, the enemies. You don't get to see all of that. They're all a blur on your screen. And that's a major issue. I think one of the reasons the Wetland Run is so, like, you know, infamous, right? But it's so popular still, is because people just remember it. People just remember how they went through the swampland and eventually reached Menethil Harbor. It was such a great experience. You had to pay attention to your surroundings so you won't get like ganked by a raptor or a crocodile that would absolutely decimate your ass. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. And now the game is so fast, it will never happen to you. The world doesn't feel as risky anymore. And that's a huge problem. It's just speed. And it's the same with combat. It's the same with like every single thing. It's the same with leveling. Like speed, you need delayed gratification. If you have no delayed gratification, you're bound to have a very, very fleeting game. And nowadays games, they think like everything can be Fortnite. Because Fortnite is just queue in, like have your Labubu millennial dance and do whatever. But it only works because it's Fortnite. It can never work inside of an MMORPG scene, and that's what Blizzard are refusing to understand. That's why they're trying to make World of Warcraft into Fortnite.
In 2005, a paper hit the games industry.
Flying is awful, exactly.
To define
especially with
immersion
Dragonflight.
In a way games could use going forward. They succeeded, by the way, with almost 1,200 other papers citing it since. Now, their model had three components: sensory, challenge-based, and imaginative. Which all seems self-explanatory, right? Azeroth's beautiful landscapes hit you with a sense of scale. The ambience made it feel vibrant and real. Exploring dense caves full of mobs with an incredibly responsive...
And none of this matters if you would just waltz through everything. Nothing matters if you waltz through everything. Nothing.
Combat system just invited you to lock in. And then the
it's
feeling...
like they're looking at the symptoms rather than the disease.
Of a big, empty world full of mystery and history, it wormed its way into your mind. So there you go. WoW is immersive by all three categories, right?
Damn.
Job done.
Great video by Bellular.
Because
shit.
This model of immersion rewrote history, and it changed how the industry and all of us talk about immersion forever. And as a result, we left something behind. And for Blizzard, well, it was maybe the most important part of World of Warcraft. You see, we found something far stronger than immersion. Stronger may not be the ideal word. Rather, it is foundational to immersion being possible in a game like World of Warcraft. You see, you can get lost in a half-decent movie or video game, but you always come back out at the end, right? You leave the cinema. But the thing about WoW is, it really seemed to take it one step further. Immersion just doesn't describe how Classic hit the world harder than any game before, to the point where people would be playing WoW like 20 hours a day, often leading to medical incidents and viral news stories. And the way it felt is whenever you left Azeroth, you almost always wanted to leap right back into it, or think about when you could. You would plan your
Holy
next
shit, wow. Dude, that's so old. Thoughtbot. Jesus, man, that's crazy. And you said data mining didn't exist back in the day. Man, I really wish we could have gone back to the era where the internet wasn't the cesspool it is today. I feel like everything got so fast nowadays and so, like, efficient. We just lost the magic, dude. Like, we don't have that anymore. I really wish we could have gone back to this. I have so many good memories from, like, the old Windows XP. Man, like, I'll never get to experience that again. That world is lost. You click the link and you don't know what you're going to get. Either you're gonna get a banger of a video or a Trojan horse. It was incredible.
session, think about your character.
Cheap
think
WoW
about the
goal,
people you're
bad, yeah.
playing with. And people are core.
Some
We all share
things
the
never
feeling that
change.
Azeroth is a real place. The sense that things that went on in it mattered, that things would persist, that consequences would matter, and that you're going to Azeroth rather than just playing a video game. And that one step further than immersion has a name. It's actually a feeling, and it is one called presence. And presence is what we've forgotten. But first, a quick Linuxy tangent for anyone who's opened up a terminal, saw the blinking cursor, and quiet.
Oh, is that an ad? Okay, sorry, I'm gonna skip that one because we're kind of short on time. I usually never skip ads, but I respect it, Ryan. But we're short on time.
Telepresence predates World of Warcraft, and it predates just about anyone watching this video. It's actually said to come from a 1940s sci-fi story called Waldo, which is about a severely disabled man who invented remote-controlled robot hands to do what his own hands couldn't. It's
interesting. Okay.
Obvious
Can you do
to
like
us now, but
Nah,
remote
I'm not gonna
control
say.
was a genuinely groundbreaking.
Yeah, that's the average. By the way, that's like the average WoW player. That's the guy you're rating with right now.
Bit of tech back then. Waldo, with this technology,
The
was
average
able to
classic WoW
exist
player.
somewhere that his body couldn't.
Shoot,
Now, that's
I
the core
fireball.
of telepresence, and it's an idea that struck with readers of that story. Readers like Marvin Minsky, the man who established MIT's AI lab and who is one of the fathers of AI. Of course, I mean that in the computer science sense, so very much back before people just thought AI. Oh, ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Now,
AI is my friend and he loves me. True. Man, humanity's truly devolving. Like, we're literally going back to the ape and AI is just going to farm us for batteries. I'm sure of it. Like, the Matrix wasn't a movie, it was a prediction. It was a prophecy. Yeah, even with not knowing what you get clinking a link, people were scammed way less than now. Well, because people were actually smarter back in the day, and also scammers got way, way more efficient. Like, they know how to do it. They got some tricks. Yeah, is this the latest video from Bellular? It is.
Marvin's part of this video because
Yeah, Bellular talking around the problems as usual. Yeah. I'm just... Hey, it's a Bellular video, right? We gotta go. Listen, I really like Bellular as, like, a person, but I understand he's, like, that's his job. He can never, like, call it out straight. That's why I'm here for.
of his pioneering essay on telepresence.
That's why you have me.
Cemented the idea in futurist thought of workers using robots in dangerous environments, technology letting you exist somewhere that your body couldn't. Now, the first application of this was a little bit less inspired, but it was quite funny. It was a company called Teleport, founded in 1993, that sold video conferencing as teleportation, where executives could be somewhere beautiful and technology would beam them away from their boring boardrooms. Laughable now, but it forced the question that really matters for this video. How could technology make you feel presence? Like you were truly somewhere else? Well, in 1997, two researchers set out to figure out what this feeling was. And here's what they found. Presence has 6 components, and this is where things get weird and interesting. And that's because immersion as we know it was only one part of the whole thing. Another one was realism, and it came in 2 flavors, where presence comes from something being realistic to the real world, but also from something called perceptual realism, which basically is the thing being realistic to itself. Now, you kind of could have guessed those things already, and it's really the other 4 that set WoW apart. You know the way we would just jump at each other in WoW, or maybe throw a buff on a random player running past us? Yeah,
Yes.
Well, that is actually what the research calls...
I always love getting random thorns from Druid. It lasts for like 3 minutes and I'm like, damn, That's the most useless garbage I ever gotten in my life, but I appreciate that homie so much for doing that for me.
Intimacy. And along with immediacy, it is a key part of, quote, presence as social richness. Of course, to our social human brains, that richness makes us feel there and present. If you throw a
Love your
heal to
vids. Keep
help
telling
a
the
player
painful
as you
truth.
run
Thank you
past,
so much,
they
man.
might whisper
Thank you so much. I
back and
appreciate
say
that.
thanks. That's presence. Specifically, it's when the
I'll
interaction
keep doing
feels,
that.
quote, sociable, warm, sensitive, personal, or intimate. Now, the next two parts can be bundled together. There is presence as a social actor within the medium, and then there's the reverse of that, which basically is parasocial behavior, aimed at something in the game or at the game itself. And that can be as simple as you literally thanking your pet for saving your life because your pet got a crit, or maybe cursing the game for refusing to drop your item. Essentially, the more social engagement with the game, parasocial included, the stronger the sense of presence. But then the final part is maybe the most important.
Well, I mean, you really didn't have to look for video games to find out that's true. Just watch the average person watch a football game. Like, my father still yells at the screen like the player is going to be like, damn, you're right. I should have really, like, kicked to that corner. Like, damn, that's crazy. Like, people have always done that, I assume. It's just ever since, like, the circus was invented. So, it is, like not a unique World of Warcraft thing, but it is applicable. I think it's like, enhanced in video games because you're way more present.
Because it's what
Which
ties
is
all
the point of
this
the video.
together. And it is presence as teleportation. In other words, what takes you from your computer chair to Azeroth itself? Well, these researchers determined that being transported actually has
Severe hair loss.
three components. There is you are there, which is the bit we usually laser focus on today. And certainly all the conversation about flying mounts, quest markers, and too much revealed lore kind of falls into that. And what this first of our three components also covers is pretty much all the immersive stuff we've talked about so far and the social stuff. Basic idea that the more you impact the world, the more you embody your character. It's all presence as transportation. But let's get to the second. The second is called It Is Here. And it's quite funny. It is, as an example, early film audiences fleeing from an oncoming train because they hadn't really seen a film before, and the idea of a train hurtling towards them felt really weird. That's a fun little one, and hey, if you pop on a VR headset and something is so realistic it actually spooks you out, maybe you're feeling some of that. But for us, what really matters is the third component, and that component is we are together. That's what they call it. And you see, these researchers found that the presence of other people in a virtual environment was a major component of feeling transported to that environment. Basically, the more you feel like you share that virtual world with other people, well, because you know those people are real, then the more real that place feels.
Yep, and this is why botting is such a huge problem in retail WoW nowadays, because the world feels fake. And dude, that's so true. Like, you hit the nail right on the head there. Like, that's absolutely crazy. And that's why also it's so important to have like tight-knit communities and like I wouldn't call it smaller servers, but some sort of a way, maybe a layering system or a very like intricate system that makes sure that you're seeing other players at all times, no matter which zone you go to, because it's always feels bad whenever you play like a dead zone. Right? Nobody want to level in a dead zone. You want to see other people going around, even if you're not interacting with them, because MMO players, like, 70 to 80% of them play alone, right? Like, most of them are solo players. They still want to see other people. It's the chance of you might getting to interact with someone, is seeing some other person and like character and knowing there's a person behind it. It's like that feeling of presence. It's like you're not alone. It's a shared space. That's the cool part. That's why it's so important to actually nail this. And that's why I hate leveling in retail, because the world just feels dead. And it is.
And of course, the researchers, were only talking about 1995's version of Zoom calls. Imagine what they'd say about World of Warcraft. So, what we've learned here is that presence goes beyond just immersion. It goes beyond the game having challenge and having sound effects and visuals that just feel really authentic to itself. No, presence is what gives us that sense of Azeroth as a real place. It's the feeling that you were going there, not just playing a game. And when we think about World of Warcraft as
It was a
cultural
social
phenomenon,
game.
well, WoW
Classic.
was as big as it was because it felt like more than a game. Above anything else, it is that it was a world that mattered. And I think everyone intuitively knows that. Do you know who's one of those people?
Holly, oh my
Holly
god!
Longdale gets it, though.
Fuck no! Oh my god, dude. I never left a dislike on a Bellular video. Guys, that might be a first. I'm sorry, Holly Wine Mom Longdale is not getting anything, son. If she got anything right, she would have called it Warcraft. She's so afraid to even say so. It's, what are we even talking about this? She got nothing. She literally butchered EverQuest, and they brought her to destroy World of Warcraft from within. This is the war within. It's Holly Longdale. In the Blizzard headquarters, she should get the boot. If Microslop wants any chance of Blizzard Revival and Classic Plus to actually be good and bring in the bacon, they should fire her instantaneously.
She hasn't seen the research and stuff we've talked about today, and she may not actually know that she gets it. But it's certainly good news that she gets it. Now, let me explain.
What? Oh, man, I bet that... We gotta read the comments after this one. We gotta read the comments after this one. I think Bellular is just losing it, man. Like, this is getting out of hand.
And how we know that. In a WoW Discord Q&A back in March, Holly talked about World of Warcraft's role as what's called a third place. Now, what does
everyone knew that?
Place? Well, the first place is your home.
He drank the Kool-Aid? Brother, he made the Kool-Aid factory, broke through the wall, and then drank the entire thing up.
Home, where you spend time with your family, where you do a lot of your life. The second place is work or school, essentially the place you're obligated to be. The third place, then, is a public place you choose to be. And when this term was popularized in 1989, it referred to things like, say, churches, bars, and cafes. The short explanation is that a third place is somewhere that is fun, convenient, open, and most importantly, social. So if you hung out at the mall as a teenager, the mall was your third place. If you played World of Warcraft, Azeroth was your third place. And if you played World of Warcraft in the earlier days, it wasn't.
If you had friends, you went to the mall. No friends, Azeroth. There we go. I said it in like the simple terms.
Azeroth, it was your.
It was kind of obfuscating.
It was your server, because back then servers mattered. You would run into the same people in general chat and in town. For a lot of us, then, your guild would also become your found family, who may as well have been people who literally live in Azeroth, because that's where you'd all hang out together. And for a poignant, real example of that, look at the story of Iblin. By all accounts, he lived a rich life with his guild that, because of the challenges he faced in real life, basically otherwise impossible for him. But look what WoW was able to give him. Now, of course, it wasn't only WoW. Sometimes guildies would be on forums, or maybe MSN Messenger, or
oh my god.
But it was still on your PC.
Anyone remembers his ICQ number? I sure don't. But my god, it was lovely. Baron's chat, to be exact. Where's the Menquirk wife? If you ask that in the chat, you'll get every single answer except the correct one.
That you logged into WoW with. Now don't worry, I'm not going to go on a misty-eyed rant about the past here. But this stuff is a large part of what made Azeroth real, and a 2006 paper actually delved into online games as third places and came to the conclusion that they absolutely definitely are, which I think does seem obvious to all of us by now. So, World of Warcraft established presence, and so it became your third place, where you lived out part of your life, a part that, as opposed to the first and second space, was one that
she's
you
in
very
Stone
much
Talon.
actively chose.
Yeah, just keep
because
searching.
it was your discretionary free time. Now that sense of place, socially, is what made all that social.
It's actually one of the
presence
better
and,
answers.
as we covered earlier in the video, transportation stick, and in ways that it just doesn't today. All those immersive details we've talked about over the years do matter, but nothing matters more than WoW feeling like a real place that we go to. But sadly, since at least Cataclysm, Blizzard have known that they're making a game, not a world. Now I think Holly intuitively understands that, and Holly does want WoW to be a third place again. She's literally talked about it. So the question...
Yes, that's why we get the Rainbow Mafia to indoctrinate us with more Rainbow Fury propaganda. True. She gets it. She gets it. That's why we got the best event in World of Warcraft history, the Darkspear Troll Dash event. For an organization that is unbeknown to anyone, And it's just, what are we even talking about here? How can you even say such a thing? I bet he got cooked in the comments. I'm really waiting to see that. It's such a, I don't know why he does that, man. Listen, it's one thing to play safe for Blizzard's sake, because, money's money, right? But to say Holly's actually getting it, it's not even stretching it. It's just a straight up lie.
Is that even possible?
Is it kidding? I'm afraid not.
Take a look at this recent Reddit thread that popped off. It raised the argument that always comes up when anyone gets too nostalgic. Do we all just miss that time in our lives when we played WoW, when we had less responsibilities, and really Azeroth was the main thing we cared about? And honestly, it's not much of an argument because to most of us, it is obviously true, and obviously a major part of the discussion. You probably have, these days, less time and more responsibility. And even science backs that up. They measure your ability to get immersed with a trait that they call absorption. And that trait, absorption, has been shown to decrease just a little bit with age.
Yeah, it's chilling too close to the sun.
There is, of course, an elephant hiding in your pocket. I know, it may come as a shock. It's called your phone. We're all pretty much mind-broken by the attention economy these days. If you play WoW without a second monitor or a podcast playing, you're definitely in the minority. And I think to some of us, playing WoW with just the in-game sounds may feel like being sonically naked. I mean, if you told me that you don't alt-tab all the time or don't pick up your phone during a long flight, I'd struggle to believe you. Now, this is of course not a new problem, but it is worse than it's ever been. Back in the classic days, you probably had one monitor. Your PC probably struggled to alt-tab out of WoW. Never mind run a...
Just press the turbo button. Just press the turbo button. It will never cook your PC, trust me.
Picture-in-picture video or podcast. Your phone, if you had one, wasn't a full multimedia device full of algorithmically driven feeds and gambling apps and bullshit to scroll through. Maybe you had a podcast or some music
the
on,
good old
but
days.
Generally, you were more focused, immersed, present. Your attention constantly being pulled away kills that immersion, and by doing so, it kills the sense of presence. Because if you're checking your phone, you're not in Azeroth. You can't fully enjoy WoW or anything if you're not...
Turn WoW into a mobile game. Problemo solved.
...present in the experience.
And it will happen,
That's
by the way.
Society largely has to grapple with. Crucially, it's something that WoW has to fight for. If WoW slows down, there's ways that could be a better game. But the more attention-grabbing things around you will eat WoW's lunch. And that is a part of why Hardcore Classic is actually so beloved, because the stakes, being so high, force you to focus. It's also why modern WoW feels like an endless deluge of bite-sized content. It's because it kind of has to be bite-sized content in order to survive in the modern...
No, just they're incapable of making a good game. It's their only reason they're making bite-sized content is because they want to sell you an expansion as quick as possible before they flow off into the next one. They can't even handle an 8-week cycle patch. It's super broken, it's so buggy to the point where the Lua boss actually had a command prompt popping out in the middle of the raid, and they knew about it during PTR, and it's still shipped to the live game. It's insane. It's not because they have to, it's because they're incapable of creating anything good. It's like, what are we even talking about here? Just insane. Yeah, I've been playing with one monitor my entire life. What? Dude, everyone has like 2 monitors. Like it's like basic nowadays. Even I have one. To be fair, the second monitor is like the old one and it's like really small, but still, you need it. Yeah, BlackBerry was the last good phone. After BlackBerry, it's not a phone anymore. Based. Retail isn't playable. I've tried. Yeah, same.
An environment.
You're not alone.
That seems to be Blizzard's hypothesis. Now, all that technological and cultural change means that modern WoW can never risk trying to be a full world. Now, on the bright side, it can continue being a damn good game. But Holly, I don't think the third place plan can really work as good as I think we all wish it could. And there is one giant thing blocking the path to that.
Holly.
Azeroth
She's
could
the
never
giant
be a
thing.
third place because the internet is no longer really a place. Your phone is in your pocket at all times. You probably have a laptop. You have a legion of alts, none of whom are your virtual self. Not in the way that back in the day you'd have a character in a big online game and it would be your avatar. No. Back in the 90s, people were collectively obsessed with the internet as a different world. The novel Snow Crash gave
High
the metaverse
speed.
its name and its shape
1K.
all the way back in 1992. Then hackers in 1995 visualized the internet as a radical 3D space. And as MMOs started to show up, they got the same treatment. Second Life's name kind of speaks for itself. And take a look at this. The anime.hack sign was about mystery and relationships in a fictional MMO that was literally called The World. You see, back then, you had to sit at your chunky PC, perform the ritual of dial-up connection, and then transport
Man,
yourself.
that sound is,
And the way we talked about it back then
he's bringing
was of
back
you
memories.
going online. Of course, these days, you've actually got to make effort to be offline, because online is kind of the default. Really, with phones, the internet and reality have merged.
Yeah, true. It's so crazy to me that the moment like you go out without your phone, like so many people are like looking for you and stuff. And whenever I see something like this, I'm like, damn. Like 30 years ago, nobody was like that, and people were fine. And it's like now people are so attached to their phones, they can't go a second without it. It's just crazy how humanity has changed in just a couple of decades. I mean, once AI will truly explode and like farm us for batteries, guys, we're cooked. We're cooked. I don't know how we're going to handle things. Like, humanity is going to act completely different. Video games are going to be different. Like, I really don't see a hope for that future. I'm not even going to lie to you. It's just, damn. It's kind of it became a doom post, but still, my God, it's just going in such a bad direction, I have to be honest.
And if you take a look into the research around embodied intelligence and a bunch of things like that and tool use, oh boy, the way that we all do literally just walk around with our phones just always attached to our hands, it's a little bit spooky. And it's spooky for WoW. You see, social media has bridged the entire world, such that we can all exist together in one lovely big blend of offline and online.
Yeah, that's so good. I really need to know that a guy at the other side of the world hates me. I really needed that. Thank you. I love the internet.
You might still live an online-heavy life and have online friends, but they don't feel like they live in a different world. They just feel like people far away. You talk to them on Discord or Battle.net with the little box that lives in your pocket. And what we see is that modern culture doesn't see game worlds or even the internet as a unique and distinct place in the same way that we used to see it 20 or 30 years ago. Now, you could argue that small Discord servers are, in some way, one of the last true digital third spaces left. And here's a fascinating thing that backs that up. The actual research on what a third space is reports this, where researchers have noticed that adding competitive, sports-like elements instead of, say, free play actually breaks what a third space is. Now, if you take a look at any of the major social media platforms, what do you see? Well, technically they're social hangouts, but the objectives of you as a poster are kind of different. I mean, on Twitter, what do people want? They want big numbers. That's why Discord does stand out as one of the last bastions of the third space, because it is your own Discord server and community. Now, with all that established, let's get back to WoW. WoW's position as being game first, social hangout second, kind of disqualified.
Did he say gay first? Because he's right about that. That's literally retail entire thing.
And it's the same with basically every other MMO on the market these days. It's almost as if game and place are on the spectrum, and every decision
then he was wrong.
toward
My bad.
game can end up moving you away from place, away from the presence that made WoW feel so special. Now, that may sound a little bit weird and academic, but just think about it this way. Think about the verbs that we tend to use. You don't meet your friends in World of Warcraft. You play WoW with them while you hang out in Discord. Discord is a place, the other thing is just a game you're playing. Now, obviously, Ventrilo and TeamSpeak existed long before, but they were always secondary. Guild chat was always first. Now,
because World of Warcraft became a second monitor game, and everyone knows that. You're just playing like an NPC. It's not fun anymore. You don't get to immerse yourself in the vast open world and actually care about what's going on your screen. You're just a rabbit going from A to B and just chasing the carrot.
Although Discord has taken over as the primary social hangout. Everyone is on Discord before they're on WoW together. And the way Blizzard are introducing Discord to World of Warcraft's guild chat proves that Blizzard knows that. It's a brilliant move, but it's also a white flag. Discord won. Blizzard has had to give up and acquiesce. They know Discord is where people hang out by default, so now WoW is just going to plug itself into that, because WoW cannot replace Discord anymore. Basically, Discord won, and now WoW is growing dependent on Discord to function socially. Even if, say, housing is massively successful and people hang out in and around their houses, well, the reagents for that third place magic just do not exist in the same way that they used to, not back in the day, and for all the reasons and the research that we've went through today. At the very least, not on the scale that Holly seems to want. So, it seems then that while WoW can be immersive when you turn all your extra music and podcasts off and you just enjoy the landscapes and the verse and the art and the sound, well, for presence, is there any hope?
Camelot. That's
WoW can
classic
never
plus,
be a
by the
proper
way.
third place, not with how the internet works today. And I mean that in general. If you
You're dead wrong about this. You're like, literally the wrongest statement I've ever heard in my entire life. It can be a third place, just make the game good. It's like, stop. Stop thinking these people like today are just like boglemites who can't think on their own and are just too addicted to the internet. It's like they all think, I think they're just content creators in general. Their view is so skewed of the world. They just think everyone is like that, like, you know, cloud chasing fiends and rat demons that only cares about the next social stuff popping off. It's like, what are we talking about? Most people just want to have fun and have, like, play great games. Like, these people never left their home since, I don't know, the 2000s. It's just, what are we doing here? It's such a stupid statement. Why would you even claim that? It's so false. I can't even begin to describe how bad it was. Like, it's not true. Just get out of your bubble. If all you do is search Reddit threads and Twitter posts, then yeah, you're going to think everyone is, like, insane on the internet. But no, just people chooses to willingly detach themselves from that. That's why I made, like, my Twitter account, what, like 2 years ago, something like that? I have 0 posts. I don't post because I don't have anything of importance to say. I should start probably posting something, I don't know, to get some traction, I guess, because, you know, I'm trying to make it full time, but, I mean, what are we doing? I just want to have fun. That's the gist of it. Such a cringe claim.
want WoW to be able to function as a third space, I would say get into role-playing and find an RP server that takes that seriously.
Yeah, true. You have to be a furry weeb to actually get into World of Warcraft and make it your home. True. Based.
But for the rest of us,
absolutely.
No, WoW is not
going
to become a third place
Sorry.
than it used to. But the silver lining is that the presence that modern WoW has abandoned is still possible. And how we know that is WoW Classic. You see, a study published in 2022 surveyed players on what they felt from Classic's relaunch. Nostalgia, of course, was there, but more importantly, the social presence and what's called sense of place were massive for these people. And they found a promising trend, that these two things were actually linked, that when players felt more social presence, they felt a stronger sense of place within Azeroth. Now, for a second, this is going to get really weird. You see, for those actively playing Classic, what ended up happening is that sense of place actually weakened. Now, the researchers suggest that this is down to revisiting the game with way more of a gameplay focus. And that does track whenever you watch, say, other content creators trying out WoW for the first time. For one example, GBay99 has been documenting his dive into Warcraft.
His videos are goated.
Fresh eye, and he's thoroughly enjoying it in many of the ways that people did back in 2004. If then there was a new Classic, divorced from nostalgia and less gameplay focused in the way that we see gameplay today, which I would argue is more narrow than it was in the past, then it might stand a chance of emulating that original launch. Now,
yes,
not to put too much pressure on the devs here, but
if Blizzard make Classic Plus exactly like Turtle WoW has, you're going to see some numbers you've never seen before, and probably, like, at the very least, like TBC level of subscriptions. And by the way, like, you don't really need to go far as to prove it. Just look at what Turtle WoW did as a private server. Many people don't trust private servers, and that's why they didn't play Turtle WoW, even though it was, like, free to play. And if Blizzard makes this official, you're going to see some insane numbers. And people would instantaneously play World of Warcraft again.
Classic Plus. You see, if modern WoW is locked into being a season-based, gameplay-focused game, big capital G, all caps underlined, that's super engaging.
Why is this guy speaking in Old English?
Can be something
I
different.
don't know.
Classic Plus can be a world. And Blizzard did not pick the Camelot codename by accident. It is, of course, King Arthur's mythological castle, often considered an eternal utopia, and not in the milk and honey way, but in the fighting for chivalry until the bitter end way. That's an exciting idea, and maybe it's just a cool name and they
I couldn't give less shit about which name Blizzard chose for their product. I just want it to be good. I don't like this whole prelude of, oh, Blizzard is going to cook hard with this one. They called it Camelot. Yeah, maybe they wanted to call it Camelot, but, you know, they thought, oh, you know what, we already have too much stuff on our head right now, so maybe it's not a good idea. So they just changed it. Like, I couldn't give less of a damn. It's so crazy. Like, what are we talking about here? We're grasping at straws, man. I think WoW players, they've lost their minds. They've lost their mind. And listen, I'm partially undead too. So I get it. I get it. Like, we're grasping at the last hope we have. But this is embarrassing.
just want to make a game for the super attached endgame classic lovers. But I hope
It's getting
more
out of
than
hand,
that.
guys.
I hope they are going to make a real world instead. I think it'll never reach the heights of the original classic, also known as World of Warcraft. But that's just because we live in a different world now, and I don't think it'll be able to fully achieve that for all the reasons I've laid out in this video. But I think it can be good, and I think it can have a sense of presence that is vastly beyond what we've had in modern WoW lately. But that doesn't mean that modern WoW cannot learn from all this research into presence. And should Blizzard need an opportunity and an excuse to do that, well, The Last Titan is the end of a big saga, so what better time to make some change? All that Blizzard has to do is read a dozen or so scientific papers from 30 years ago.
Or use their brains and watch what classic World of Warcraft did with Turtle WoW and Ascension and learn from that. Easy.
And integrate them into their game design. There you go. Easy as that. People have been talking about immersion. That's good. I love to see it. But as we've learned today, immersion is not even the half of it. Because...
Damn. Okay, anyway, that's it. I'm not gonna lie, this video had made me, super tired. That was such a... That was such a roller coaster. It started off good, and then, Bellular completely derailed. I don't know what it's going through. I'm just, my god. That was a hard watch.